This conference will now be recorded.
Sorry we held you up for a little bit, but we had some executive work that we had to get done. So would everyone please rise for the pledge and I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Our dear kind Heavenly Father, we thank you for all the many blessed things that you have bestowed upon us. We really appreciate the rain, much needed rain that we've gotten over the last several days to help our drought and help the farmers' crops to get a good start. Oh Lord, be with all the families that have lost loved ones due to helicopter crashes or airplane crashes. Be with them and God them, that they know that their loved ones are in a safe place with you. Oh Lord, as we go into our meeting tonight, please guide us in a godly manner and help us make the right decision that not only benefits the town, but also the town peoples. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. All the council's present. Great, moving along. Review and approval of meeting minutes for March, draft minutes for March the 10th regular meeting and March 31st workshop. Has council had a chance to review them?
I totally forgot, so I had to abstain. I really totally forgot about the part reviewing. Oh, my God.
Do I have any questions, concerns, or changes? If not, do I have a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
To
Accept.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. That's okay. We have a motion and a second to accept March 10th and March 31st draft meeting minutes. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Abstain, I'm sorry, I totally forgot him.
Okay. Motion carries with one abstention. Thank you. Treasurer's report, Tony.
Sure. So at the end of March, the general fund had a balance of $3,610,869.48. We collected $10,954.76 in real estate tax payments, and there's remaining $34,534.28 to collect. Personal property tax payments received totaling $4,119.76. March 2025 local tax distribution received totaling $3,750.21. December 2024 highway user revenues were received for $41,661.67. And January 2025 hotel motel taxes received totaling $2,748.05. We also received FY25 third quarter state aid for the police protection, totaling $10,805. We paid Huntsberry Brothers their first pay for part of the Super Park Phase 4 project, totaling $73,725. We paid SP Daily $29,625 for concrete for storage and shop facility floor at the wastewater treatment plant. We paid Arrow Consulting $14,573.75 for on-call comp plan update services, and we also paid WRA $2,320.15 for comp plan assistance. We paid Mead and Hunt their 13th invoice as part of the Cultural Trail feasibility study, and after this invoice, there's a remaining $7,608.78 remaining to be billed. Restricted funds at the end of March had an ending balance of $356,070.04. There was no action in that account, just interest earned of $793.19. Our CDs, our certificates of deposit, had an ending balance of $2,143,848.79. At Middletown Valley Bank, the Schaefer Park Friends of Schaefer Park CD had a balance of $56,848.79. Wells Fargo CDs totaling $2,087,000, and the Wells Fargo money market account balance was $431.22. That's the only figure that wasn't in the treasurer's report. It's just that money market account that changes. I will tell you that the CD for the Friends of Schaefer Park just came due, that $56,848.79. I will get with Howard and Eric. All three of us have to go in and sign a new CD. I think it's going to be an 11-month CD at 4.1, and the current CD was 4.17. So not much of a change. So we'll probably just renew that for 11 months. The water fund for the end of March had an ending balance of $729,178.34. We collected $26,142.49 in the water, sewer, sanitation collections. We purchased 80 water meters from Core and Main, totaling $24,800. And we paid WRA their 11th and 12th invoices as part of the Crestview Bypass project for design and engineering, totaling $9,861.82. After this invoice, there's remaining $25,899.93 to be billed. The water fund user fee restricted account with Middletown Valley had no action. It was just interest earned, interest of $3,127.20. And the ending balance at the end of March was $2,644,711.31. American Rescue Plan Acts fund balance at the end of March was $2,355,760.26. We did pay WRA their 33rd invoice for part of the reservoir replacement project, the design and engineering totaling $1,475.25. After that invoice, there's nothing remaining to be billed on the original contract of $315,525. We also paid WRA their 3rd and 4th invoices as part of the reservoir replacement project for construction and engineering, totaling $4,020.58. After this invoice, there is still remaining $41,457.05 to be billed on the original contract of $50,000. We also paid Aero Consulting for RPR services as part of the reservoir replacement project, totaling $8,159.02. The sewer fund, the end of March, had an ending balance of $191,203.67. We had paid principal interest on CDS infrastructure bond from 2017 Series A, totaling $224,588.71. And the sewer fund user fee restricted account had an ending balance of $308,354.10. The only action in that account for the month was interest earned of $686.90. And I'd just like to add that I was on the phone today with Wealth Enhancement. You know, Wealth Enhancement's the company that's going to be taking over the Wells Fargo investments. That process is in the works. Those CDs are transferring in kind, and all that means is that none of those CDs have to be forfeited and cashed out. They just transfer from one entity to the other entity, and then we'll start the same process of laddered CDs like we did the last several years with Wells Fargo. That's everything I have.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions of Tony? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept treasurer's report?
I'll make that motion. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Abstained, motion carries. Doesn't look like anybody signed up for citizens' comments, so moving right along to facilities report. Public Works, Greg?
I'm going to start with the public works side of it. The Walker Trail's finally finished 98%. We still got a couple wings to put on the stormwater on the pipe, and then they got to pull the rest of the filter sock out. But for the most part, they're done. Everybody can walk on, you can enjoy it. Now it'll be there for opening day when you all can do your harbor, your cleanup. We want the reservoir. They're almost up at the reservoir already with the 12-inch water line. They're flying. So they're actually doing a very good job. We found a bunch of pipes that nobody knew was there. They're not on the drawings. We found one pipe running like a faucet and it's fluoridated water, so it's definitely coming out of the reservoir from somewhere.
Mm.
So hopefully that we'll get that called up once that reservoir stops. There's no way to stop it because they're digging it out as they're putting the new one in. So it's just gonna have to, it's been running like that, I guess, for 100 years.
Yeah, ever since it's been built probably. That's why that probably one of our areas we were losing water.
I sure Pete, you said that's a lot of water.
There
That- that's over.
was a lot of water coming out of that.
Dean South is moving right along. They're putting in some storm drain pipe right now. They got a culvert pipe box that they have to put in. It's right at the entrance. That road's barely big enough for 2 cars. When they set the machine there, they cannot open that up. So they're letting people come in. They closed off the one way, put a trash bag over so people, residents can come in that way. Gave notifications to everybody out there, Rick. And they're gonna shut the water off here in 2 days to drop the water line under the storm water box, and then we did to go after that.
How will we notify people when we turn the water off?
They gave them 48 hours notice.
Okay.
They gave Rick to everybody
And how long will the water be off?
half a day.
After
They have to put a couple 45s in, go under the storm water, come back up, and then they'll turn everything back on.
Okay.
Couple people out there got notices. They contacted me today that shouldn't have. Look, I was off work and I didn't know it. They gave the guys on Mapleville Road notices that their water was getting, and they're actually fed from Mapleville Road. So they won't be affected. It's just Canode Circle that'll be affected. And everything's open. The park's open, everything's good to go.
Greg, anything happened this morning over Crestview? Because I got up at 6:30 and I had almost no water pressure, which normally it's the highest in the town.
Yeah.
And then by 7 o'clock, it was back up to pressure. I don't see anything wrong with my house, it was.
No. We didn't turn any valves or anything.
Okay. Just leave it be.
Anybody have any questions of Greg? Thank you.
I'll tell you, I looked at your blacktop, you asked me about that. right now.
Oh, yeah, I saw Mark on.
So it just needs the sides that are spider web. The whole road still has 10+ years left in it. We'll just come in, we'll patch up where it's all spider web. That's caused from the trash trucks coming to a stop. It's all that's caused from. And then the culvert pipe, we'll replace that whenever, then we'll just put a couple of inches of blacktop over top of it.
I'll let him know.
Okay, thank you. Yep.
Thank you, sir. Pete?
I'll start with the sewer side. Everything is running good and smooth on the sewer side. No problems to report. It's been a good month last month. Water side, everything is running pretty smooth too. Phillips, they called me today and say that they are coming Thursday to decommission the old well and get that all done and completed. On that, I mean, everything's good. So everything's on smooth.
Good. Everything's flowing good.
Everything's flowing good.
It's really good. How do you plan your outfit this week?
Anybody have any questions?
Well,
Thank you, sir.
I didn't really know what to do here, but.
Is he watching? Hank did it all.
Help me, Kim.
Don't worry about it, it was inconvenience. I'm watching something important.
Anywho,
Can we get the department to raise like you get some like real
some real.
officers?
Wow. So some good news. It turns out that when we did the Schaefer Park Creek masonry repair and renovation, that project was finishing as Paul left. We never submitted for the final reimbursement, and it wasn't too late. So I submitted for $58,500.
Huh? The books are, they're supposed to deliver them to us, right?
Good job.
So we got that funding already, even though DNR is saying things are taking a couple months. We got it pretty quickly. And then, as Tony said in the treasurer's report, well, he said that we paid an invoice to Huntsberry. I already submitted for the reimbursement for that, for the walking path. So that's our third and next to last reimbursement, $73,725. The final reimbursement for the walking path will be the final 50-some thousand for Huntsberry, and then about $6,000 for amenities. All had put on the application that we would have amenities with the walking path, which means like benches and stuff like that. I think for those of you who don't know, our town clerk gave us notice. We already have the job posted, so if you know anyone with bookkeeping experience, we are hoping to fill that as soon as possible. And then just one thing about the park that Greg didn't mention, we should maybe consider opening it later in the future because we already had freezing temperatures and he had to hurry up and put heaters in the bathrooms so the pipes wouldn't burst. So just something to consider. I know we want it to be accessible to people for as long as possible, but it's a huge hassle if the temperature drops, and April's really unpredictable, so just keep that in mind for next year.
How far would you recommend pushing back?
We used to do it more towards the middle of the month,
That's what I thought.
and somehow it got pushed way down on like April, at the beginning of April. We were scrambling around trying to find heaters, and bedrooms don't have heaters. I went home, grabbed two from the house, stuck them in the center room, and turned them on high just to try to keep everything from freezing up down there.
So maybe April 15th?
That's around where it used to be. Because they found how it got pushed.
It was like when the week.
Well, did it get pushed up because they start to use the park for the sports and
It
things?
used to be always locked, because
And then
Howard would,
Easter varies by
Yeah, but they
Easter.
still use the park even after it's closed. We have the porta pots. for
Yeah,
that.
there's
Yeah,
still
yeah,
a porta
yeah.
pot down
I used to have to open them for Howard just for Easter at egg hunt.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just kind of, you know, and then when it's pretty, it's nice to have them available on.
It is, when you be 70 one day
Especially
and
this,
25 the
and
next
the
day.
council should appreciate having the bathrooms available.
Say that.
That end of the council should appreciate having the rest.
From here down,
There's sandy spots down there, so it ain't like there's not room for somebody to go bad.
yeah, then they do have the Santa Claus, so.
And there's a lot of trees.
It's just something to consider, because if Greg hadn't thought ahead and if Greg hadn't had heaters that his personal heaters he was willing to give the
We
park
had
for the
some
weekend,
busted
we would have
pipes.
had burst pipes. So just something to consider.
Anybody else have anything, Rachel?
I don't have a question on that, but I do remember what I wanted to ask you, Frank. The day we do the stream cleanup, do you remember to pull the grates out? So we
I did.
Okay,
I wrote it on the calendar.
thank you.
Rachel, I didn't see the closing date on the position, Brian's position. Do you have a closing date for that?
We opened it this past Friday and it's open for 2 weeks.
25th.
25th.
Thank you, ma'am. Town planner.
You all received my reports. A lot going on this month, obviously with the projects, things getting finished. The DePietro project, auction house is pretty much wrapped up. A couple of housekeeping items, we'll have to deal with them, but they are hooked up and they are connected to the system and have been. They paid all their tap fees, et cetera. They still need to submit the as-built drawings and provide us a copy of the easements for the right-of-ways for the line. So, Greg already mentioned Schaefer Park, that's come off your planning thing, you won't see that again. He said the filter socks will be there until the grass stabilizes, but after that, it's pretty much going to be what it's going to be. You might have looks like you're gonna be having a future Board of Appeals case. Mount Nebo Church would like to have a reader board sign in front of the church. Reader board signs are not allowed in their zoning unless by special exception. They've asked for the paperwork, so I need to send them all the paperwork. See if they fill it out and return it.
You're talking an electronic sign like the ambulance station has?
Like the ambulance station, like the church out there just changed out to, that's a new sign out there.
The Legion.
The Legion. And it's allowed in the general commercial, no problem, as long as it has a monument at the bottom. But Mount Debo's not in GC. They're in TR. So they're in the residential. So they can have it, but they have to go to the Board of Appeals. So they said they're gonna file for one, but I haven't gotten the paperwork, just making you aware of that. Next month, I will add another column to the zoning things to have what it is, like quick description, deck, renovation, whatever. I did add 2 other columns in there so you can see when the people make the application.
I saw that.
When I approve it. And you do see there is sometimes a heck of a lag between when they get their zoning certificates and when they file for their building permits. As far as planning and zoning, right now, this is the busy time of year. People are getting their tax returns. They want to do their decks. They want to do their additions. I'm getting lots of building permit applications, zoning requests. So thinking those as they come in. But it's pretty typical this time of year. People get their tax money back, get ready. The winter's done. They want to get stuff fixed. They want to get stuff upgraded. They want to build a new shed, etc. Most of them are pretty straightforward and don't take very long, but every once in a while, about every 10, you run into something that's a little wanky and you got to take a little bit more time. So that's, any questions? Happy to answer.
Did you get anything on a property on South Main Street
2 doors past,
Reader's Alley.
yes, putting in a flat, floor. And then he's gonna be applying to put a building up around it later. So it's just a concrete base right now. So when you pour a concrete slab on the ground, no permits are needed.
Yeah, you can do your whole yard on concrete.
He came to me ahead of time to say, in the future, I want to build a building around it. What are my setbacks? And I told him what the setbacks were. Now, the pad you can put anywhere you want, but once you start putting a building on it, then you gotta worry about your setbacks and where's the building and everything else. So he's got like a little handy shop or something in the back there, some sort of a pottery thing his wife does or something. I forget what it is. It's a walk-in retail sort of thing. And the back area kind of has a shop that they have. I think it's his man cave because I think he was pushed out of his. So I think that's where it's
It's
at.
called encroachment.
Greg, did you get a call back from the concrete company?
I did, yeah. He did call me back. She called me back, actually. It wasn't a dude. It was a woman. They're gonna come out, except where they broke off the edges of it.
Okay.
So if somebody puts a pad out their back door, calls it patio. they
No permit.
You don't need a permit.
No.
None whatsoever. What I always tell everybody though is, if you ever think that you're going to enclose this, you gotta pay attention because you can't build a house on a 6-inch slab. You have to have footers that go down below the frost line. So some people will build a back patio with a future to do it, but they get it approved with a footer all the way around so that at some point in the future, usually what people do is put in a covered deck. You know, they put a deck in and put screens around. So I usually ask somebody, they don't have to get a permit, but I'm like, because of what happens is if you try to put walls around it, the county inspector is gonna say, let me see the footings. You don't have any footings, you can say, jack it out, put it in.
If you're closing in a carport, is anything required?
Because the carport itself has established the actual structure itself.
Do you know anything about a barber shop going in?
No.
I seen a sign for Amber's Farmhouse Barber Shop
Yeah, that was the one I told you about.
down by the creamery.
They haven't submitted anything, so I haven't seen
I just,
it.
I seen the sign. She was always out on the farm there for years.
Well, there's personal issues
Oh.
going on out there.
Okay.
But,
But what about water and all?
they are building in there. They are messing around in
Yeah, there was a sign that says coming soon, Amber's Farmhouse Barber
there. Yeah,
Shop.
they're messing
What
around.
was in the building
It
before?
used to be a video place years and years
There's
ago.
water in there, Terry.
Yeah.
Well, isn't
Has
that
it
the
been
electric
rated?
place?
It's been
No,
vacant
no.
for a long time.
So the
They were
deck
doing
of the creamery, like to the back of that deck.
Oh,
So it's in
gotcha,
that recess area.
gotcha.
Yeah,
We used to have video
There's still
yeah,
water
tapes and stuff
back here.
years
years, yeah.
So that's part of top.
Since for blockbuster.
Yeah, that's
So they don't,
that's
Like,
it.
oh,
I'll look and see what they're doing. I also had to meet with the county inspector today. There's somebody up on St. Paul. They're not residents of the town. Their property is actually outside the town, but they're doing a bunch of grading up there. A number of the residents called from Valley View Court about it. I met the county inspector up there, and she went up to see what was going on. They had a bunch of equipment up there. I don't know what they were doing from the road. It looks like they were modifying their driveway or widening it or something. But as soon as I get on their property, I'm outside of town boundaries. I have no jurisdiction, so I called the county, and I'm not sure where that's going, but I know she went up there this afternoon.
That might be up Gary now, Gary Nodge, I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I seen it up there today.
so.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead, Howard.
No, I was asking, I was gonna say, anybody else?
Yeah, I had a couple neighbors ask me about the bypass there, Crestview, the easement for the water pressure bypass. Nothing, what's the optics of that? Is there anything visible or is it, what's it gonna look like?
You, when it's done, you won't see anything.
It's all underground, right?
It's all underground. The only
That's
thing
what I
you'll
thought it
see,
was. I wanna make sure that people are asking me about structure or something there. Okay.
all underground. The only thing you're gonna see is a manhole lid to get into the
Yeah,
wall.
there'll be a fountain out
Yeah, thank you.
there.
Only if we do it wrong.
How do
There'll be
we
a fountain
stand,
in each,
oh,
at each
how do
house.
we stand with right up the street and the fan issue?
there's two separate things going on. So Mr. Lee, how do you pronounce his last name? Doherty. Henry Doherty. So he's still pursuing his angle with the county and the fire marshal to have it displayed. What Mr. Doherty also did is he filed a specific complaint with me as a zoning administrator that says you're not supposed to be able to issue anything without a zoning certificate, and of course they don't have one. Then the county told us, hey, we don't need one if it's mechanical or electrical, we don't need one, we don't need a zoning certificate. So I had to get an opinion from the county, or our attorney, about how the laws work together in cohesion. Is the town liable, et cetera? So she gave me some information. She asked me to go out and check the site one last time. She wanted to see it. She was gonna let me know. And then
I just wondered where.
I told Lee I'd respond back to him on his request from me. He's still pursuing the stuff with the fire marshal. So it's still going.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else have any more questions? Good, chief.
All right, guys, you guys obviously have the report. Calls for service is one of the highest months I've ever seen here, and it was March. So April's already started off busy. Our patrol checks, the guys are up to almost 30 a day, as you can see. Most days we now have 2 officers here from about 0700 to 2300 hours. For the first time since I've been here, Boonesborough PD will be working the carnival with 2 officers every night and at least 1 in the town as well. So most nights we'll have 2. Currently, we're working a case with Narcotics Task Force. Maybe coming to a close tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow. We've been very patient on this, and we're not very happy with where it's at, but it should be coming to a close tomorrow. I just got a text here, our citation books are done from the state use industries up at the prison, so we should have those tomorrow, that worst case scenario Wednesday. We're looking into a utility 4-wheel vehicle, so the guys have some better access to the parks and stuff. So as we get closer, we're going to start working with, I'm going to get a hold of Pete Anderson and see what Pete can possibly, if not even donate something. We have the Hildebrands had reached out to Kevin last year about buying the department rifles. They make donations to police departments in the county. So we're even going to talk to them about if they'd be willing to maybe look into like a UTV type vehicle instead of rifles for us. So all that's just on the table. Tomorrow, the next day, James is one of the motorcycles that from their motorcycle division. There's only 2 good ones left that they didn't destroy. They're going on gov deals. So we're hoping that we might be able to get one of them for, we're hoping under 10,000. We'll see. One has 6,000 miles on it. The other has 18,000. But he's very familiar with the place. They're both very well. Kim, could we check on insurance? What that would up our insurance rates by? So.
James, are those Beamers or Harley?
BMWs, the BMWs. So.
They got 100,000 miles left.
Oh,
absolutely.
At least. And part of the NTF investigation is kind of wrapping around. It's a 23-year-old resident of Boonesborough dealing marijuana to middle schoolers. One of the hot spots is the barn. The barn. So we're trying, that's another reason for the UTV and trying to keep a better eye on that. Sword was back there today after, I mean, have we actually had that we caught activity back there?
I think there was one time.
One time.
But I've seen groups of kids go back there and I usually let the guys know and they.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we got a report just the other day about the laundromat being a big hangout. Apparently going in there to charge the fines. So we're working on hitting that pretty hard too. And we've identified 2 females, I think.
For the laundromat?
Yeah, for the laundromat.
Well, there was actually 4.
4, okay.
4 that we had.
Okay.
And we told them to spread the word. It's not a hangout. You're not to be in here. Same thing with bathrooms in the park. They're using the bathrooms as a clubhouse. So we're just walking in them.
So trying to get it under control before summer really gets here, so, but that's, yeah. So,
I mean, the 23-year-old that we know dealt marijuana and sold a vape pen to this 12-year-old kid also asked the 12-year-old kid if his friends needed anything, he could supply it and then give him a discount on it. And also the kid asked what else he had. He said he had mushrooms, an 8-ball.
an 8-ball.
We can get other stuff. So we need him out of town.
I think we got enough. I think we're gonna get possible distribution and possible contributing to delinquency.
minors.
He's on probation through Montgomery County, so we're trying to get that. He's on pre-trial monitoring, so his probation officer down there has been really good to work with. The minute we get a charge up here, she's gonna yank his probation and he'll be in jail down there, so. I mean, hopefully,
So sad.
tomorrow this,
He lives here in town?
yes. Yes. So,
I have a question.
yes, ma'am.
Don't shoot me. Once again, I did not catch this in us reviewing the town's fine schedule, but then I did get questioned by a few. Commercial vehicles in residential zone, exactly what does that mean? Because people are concerned that bring their work trucks home and have for years in part.
That's
Are they
more or
now
less
gonna be,
tractor trailers and, I mean,
and I
Yeah.
totally missed even
yeah. I mean,
catching this or thinking about that
It's,
or.
it's designed more for the large tractor trailer type vehicles. Like I know we have a fellow on Young, he drives a tow truck for a living, he parks it on Young.
Yeah, and they're worried about, is
It's
that
not really a
around?
big deal. It's the large,
Yeah.
18-wheelers.
Saying over 26,000 pounds.
Yeah, I put in the definition of a commercial vehicle, it's all the largest vehicles defined by DOT.
Okay.
Yeah, they're actually not permitted in residential areas anyway, so, you know, but, yeah, I mean, so our books are in, so I should
Don't
take,
we have that issue in Kennedy Circle that we were told?
Is it that He's parking in his driveway.
and it's a tractor only, right?
Yeah, tractor.
No, he's got a big old box truck.
Okay.
there now.
Okay, all right,
But he's
In
in
the
his
beginning,
driveway.
he was only parking his tractor there.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, I knew that was a whole hot mess and we were told there was nothing we could do about it, but then like this was no, like, you know, my neighbor buys his work truck down commercial property all the time, so he didn't get in trouble, like, you know,
No.
cars in the street, I said,
No,
I said I totally missed that, didn't even dawn on me to interpret that way, but I would find out so that, I mean.
Nothing like that.
I've had several people stop me in the last week and ask me about
Yeah,
it,
because it got
because
posted on Facebook and then, you know.
people concerned about their, like a fellow has a coffee trailer that he brings home, it's just there overnight.
Yeah.
You know, it's not designed for that.
Okay, I just, so,
And we're not looking for that either.
I didn't think that, and so I wanted to bring it up and just make sure we got the word out there so that any of that will.
Nope.
Also, Chief, the Lions Club and the Sons of American Legion went together and they're already in, I think, one of you two guys know it. First aid kits out, the
Oh,
ambulance company.
Yeah,
We
we
already got them.
they want to do a photo walk to
Yeah.
show that they're giving them, so
They said
Wednesday.
one time you all were on a call with them, somebody cut the top of their finger off and you didn't even have a tourniquet in your old.
Yeah, we-
I had that first, it needed a Band-Aid.
They said it cut
He
the
had
top
to-
of his
I said, I
finger off.
Band-Aided it up, but I didn't want to walk out my cruise, I stayed with the kid. It was
They said y'all should
it
have
was
these fancy
even peeling an apple. And
Oh, he's
sliced
put his
it
mouth.
So we spent $350 that we really didn't need to spend.
Oh, no, it's good to have a good first aid kit.
Yeah.
It'll be used, it'll
But
be
these,
good
these
use.
are nice.
Yeah.
We're gonna meet with them on Wednesday and do a photo op and.
Oh, good.
So Chief, I have two minor things.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, but I haven't done any drugs my whole life. Where the heck is the barn?
Back behind the old community center.
Remember Kenny?
Yeah.
I didn't know either.
It's where the shit for them.
I thought it was black ball and cold and shining black.
What is the
you know?
value of an 8-ball nowadays?
I don't know what the value is, but did they tell you where the barn is?
Oh,
Where the barn is?
Well, if it's the barn Mary Lee's talking about, I know where it's
Yeah,
at.
yeah.
Down behind the old police station.
Yeah.
Down
Yep.
there in the park.
And that's where the 12-year-old met the 23-year-old, and they shared a blunt, and that's where he got his phone number. And luckily, we have dealt with the 23-year-olds. When I saw the text messages and the phone number and asked what his name was, they only knew his first name, so I know who it is. And then I matched the number to what we have, so it's open and shut, but right now on our end, all we have is a 12-year-old witness, you know, and do we want to put a 12-year-old on the stand? I told his parents we're leaving it to that, to up to them, whether they wanted that or not.
They did give us full access to his phone.
They are very helpful.
The county's, I think, being a little ridiculous, and they want the dealer's phone, well, we can't get that till we get it.
Till we lock him up.
Till we lock him
You
up,
know?
and they can't, they haven't done anything to get us
And if
charged.
they didn't want to do a charge,
We could.
I would have did it today, but now the parents are, you know, they're like, let me look into things and think about it. I'd be hesitant, my 12-year-old testifying against a drug dealer. But and NTF also wants to try to work the case more to do it where we don't need the 12-year-old. But we can have, the school's already got problems with vape pens. Kids are bringing them in there and kids are selling to other kids. But if he's supplying them to everybody, we need to put a stop to it. And that's our plan.
We should have something in the next day or two,
Mhm.
hopefully tomorrow.
Yeah, there's a person that works in the middle school said that is the worst problem ever.
Well,
It is.
All the little kids.
This started from a 12-year-old sixth grader,
Mhm.
took a hit off a THC vape pen that a friend had, and then he got sick. They called his parents, but he got sicker. They had to call an ambulance. That's how we got involved.
Can you make the kid a CI?
I mean, the text messages are just crazy.
Yeah,
You wouldn't,
we got him down to the department. If you guys.
you wouldn't believe a 23-year-old trying to sell and supply all the 12-year-olds in town.
So my second little question, I didn't mean to generate all that. My second question, I'm surprised Mary Lee didn't bring this up. So I see on your notes here, you mentioned that you had a meeting with ambulance company about security at the carnival.
Yes, sir.
They didn't happen to offer to pay any of your salary.
Yes.
Well, how about that?
Well, they're paying for us to work the carnival.
They're not on duty for us.
Yeah, they won't be on duty.
Okay, all right.
They're cheaper to them.
Just have a budget handle.
So
Not even affect us.
Robbie
And
negotiated.
and I made a bad move.
He did. He'll never negotiate for me.
Well, the county, they paid the county last year $85 an hour. The county keeps $20 an hour of that. The deputy gets 65. So I wanted obviously more than 65. You're paying them 85. But I hear that the county is now starting to charge 105.
105 effective.
105 an hour. So they threw out, how about 75? I was like, sure. And I regretted when I said sure. So they're paying $75 an hour.
Yeah, we'll keep two separate time cards. They're gonna pay Kim. They'll pay the town, and then we'll turn our time card into both, Miss Blickenstaff down there at the ambulance
Yeah,
company.
and she'll
Kim.
pay the town.
And then I think the game plan is they'll give you all the money, and then you'll see how the hours are divided up. I'll give you a pretty detailed report when it's all over, who gets what. So.
It costs the town of that dime.
Yeah.
Not a
You
dime.
know, all four of the officers are working it, so them guys are gonna get it all, so, yep.
Is the ambulance company paying the two officers that will be at the carnival, but then one of our
Yeah, but
like, regular?
I'm splitting my shifts into second shift for those 9 days. And then either Robbie or Billy, because of their 12-hour schedules, one of them will always be at the carnival and one of them will always be in town. So, I'm gonna do, did we say I was doing like a midday, 12 to 8,
Yeah.
12 to 9?
Yeah.
So, and then we'll have our 11.
So he'll be the fourth. Basically, it'll be four.
It'll be basically 4.
Depending on how many days he's down there.
Yeah, so.
So now I just have one question I had.
Yeah.
That was one of them. But the other one is, I was asked if we still have an answering machine down at the,
Yes.
okay, was it out of commission for some reason?
No, it will roll over to the ECC until I get like multiple calls, and then it rolls over to the answering machine. So anytime you call there and I don't answer the phone, it rolls over to the ECC, and the ECC has the power to send it back into our answering machine.
Okay, somebody was asking me, I guess it was a non-emergency, but they wanted to leave a message and they couldn't leave one. Is that-
All they have to do if they want to leave a message is when you roll over to the ECC, it's an answering service. You say, "Can you put me in their voicemail?" And they can send it over to the voicemail.
Because I told them, I said, as far as I know, we still do. I said,
Yes.
"I'll find out." Okay,
Yes.
Perfect. I'll take care of it.
All right. I'm done.
Thank you, Chief.
Yep.
You've done an amazing job down there. I'm not
It's-
kidding.
it's-
Just putting everything
Nah.
together and, I
It's-
mean, it's a good crew.
It's because of the crew I have there, 100%. It's,
Well, yeah, now you're talking them up.
well, they are.
I mean, it is, it's so organized.
I mean, I already have one that's a little special needs. I mean, back in my day, we used to say he was a little retarded, but I mean, I would say that.
Change yourself, I can't put a tourniquet on a finger, I mean, come on.
Well, let me tell you how
It didn't
much,
need a damn tourniquet.
let me just tell you how much the Boothborough Police Department is recognized already. I was at my meeting at Isaac Walton Lee,
Oh, yeah.
and Boothborough Police Department was mentioned about the caliber of officers that we have.
I mean,
And
when
I
you
said-
start looking at the experience, it's amazing.
I told him, I said, we are so happy with what we have right now.
Yeah. I mean, and not just because, but imagine having a James that was in DC 25 years. There's nothing he hasn't seen. I mean, yeah.
Unfortunately.
I don't know, I'm sure we're gonna find something.
I don't know. I can't imagine.
He got his first experience at wrangling chickens the other day.
Yeah.
So we did teach him something.
So.
Party drive.
I have video, it's entertaining.
But you usually let them.
Yeah, I stopped and talked to her, they keep getting out, she's
Yeah,
fixing her
she's fine,
fence.
everything.
Learn the chickens' names and, you know, build a rapport.
It's still better than DC.
It's
Some
amazing.
cook the wings, they're not gonna fly.
Under mayor and council correspondence update, does anybody have anything they'd like to report on? I did have the honor, this past Saturday evening, to be a judge at the Scouts Cook-Off. And Officer Whittington joined us, Sergeant Whittington, yeah. He can vouch for you. Those kids were excellent cooks. They had a variety of all kinds of food. You had breakfast, you had like a lunch with steak, cheese, sub, full course dinners, meals, and they did a presentation and everything, and it was excellent for a bunch of teenage kids. Those parents all be proud of those boys and girls, because there was a girls troop too, the troop from Sharpsburg. In fact, they did a fantastic breakfast. Oh, man, I cleaned my plate. And then after that, I was miserable because everybody else kept bringing me more food and more food and more food. But it was something to see. Reminder to everybody, next month is May, and you know what May means. Miss Poppy will be at our mayor and council meeting, so bring your dollar bills. Miss Poppy.
Right, bring extra dollars. I was saving them for something else.
It's for the American Legion. It's for the American Legion.
It's for the American Legion, for the Matters. No, I don't know this year. There'll probably be two of them. There's a junior and a senior Miss Poppy. Now, whether the senior Miss Poppy comes or not, I don't know. She's gonna be always something else better to do than come to the American Council meeting. Once in a while, she shows up. Okay, new business.
Oh, hey, Howard,
Yes, sir.
I don't know if it was appropriate for mayor and council correspondence, that it's more of a question, probably should ask Greg or Kim or somebody, but. So my new next door neighbor is renting out, Jude, his house had burned down up here. And he prayed for the day and he said, you know, I guess they came out and read the water meter on the 15th of December. His house burned down on the 21st of December, and then it came out again on the 31st, and it was like 6,000 gallons or something. And I was like, if it's on your side of the meter, it's, we can't do anything about it, it's the town's issue, and I don't think it's firefighting water.
So I turned the water off the night of the fire.
Wow.
So somebody turned it back on and used water for something.
Wow.
And it 6 gallon, yeah, they just don't show up out of nowhere. I'm the one who turned it off the night of the fire, and I went back out and it's still off. So somebody had to turn it on to use water for something. I know, I was the one who went out to that call.
Well, he's gonna submit to the insurance company, I don't know, you know, he wasn't sure whether something happened, at, you know, either line broke or something. All right, so it's nothing on our end, and it wasn't firefighter usage, and it's on his side of the meter, so.
The meter was turned off that night.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Good. Under new business, contract award for compact testing for reservoir project.
This is one item that our agreement for services is that we would contract for the compaction testing, not HRI. So I received one bid from Hillis Carnes. I reached out to Triad and ECS, and neither one of them bid. So this is your only one to be looking at. I had Greg look at it, and he said it covered everything we needed. So just need approval to enter into a contract with them.
I mean, I'll make a motion, but should we have brought this to the BMUC first? I don't know. Because they were key in the reservoir project, and this is the first I've seen anything about it. Just asking. What do you think?
Either way, you only got one bid.
I understand that, but usually the BMUC will like to recommend, at least they would have seen it and said, okay, we'll go. I'm just asking.
Sounds like we're beyond that point now.
Well, I think we are, but I'll make a motion that we approve it. We have to do it.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second to approve Hillis Carnes. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Abstain?
Abstain.
One abstention. Motion carries with one abstention. Okay. Review, approve line of credit proposal for gap financing for capital projects.
So as I told you guys a while ago, I thought that it would be in our best interest to have just a $2 million revolving line of credit because we are relying almost entirely on grant funding for all of these projects we have going, and most of them are reimbursement based, so it can take some time to get the funds. So I reached out to Middletown Valley Bank. Well, I have proposals for Middletown Valley Bank, First United, and I reached out to Truist. The Boonesboro branch does not do this. They don't do commercial line of credit, so they referred me to the Frederick office, and I got no response. And it was a couple weeks. So these are the only two that you have to look at.
So Middletown Valley gave us a better rate.
Yes, it is.
That's how I read it.
That's how I read it. Which was what it was the last time.
Yes. Yeah, they gave us the best.
That's great.
So Rachel, obviously, if you would need to use this financing, that's first.
So
because we have some funds that we can use to
yes,
bridge the gap, so to speak.
This is just in case of an emergency.
Yeah, that's my understanding. But we have some monies that we can use elsewhere as well.
with neither of them having a commitment fee, if I understand it correctly, we could go ahead and we wouldn't actually take the money unless we needed it, right?
That's
So
line of
we
credit.
wouldn't have to do any commitment. We could just go ahead and sign with one of them and then it would be available. So if we had something come due, like Crestview with the bypass, we don't have funding for that. So if it really starts rolling along, we could just draw on this.
Well, one of the things during the treasurer's report there, Penny and I have discussed these CDs, and as they're coming due, and we'd like to transition them to another holder, So some of them would be available as well, so just, I don't know if we've even talked to you about that yet. But anyway, I mean, this is a good idea.
Well, I think I'm in favor of having the line of
Yeah,
credit
it's a good
available for
idea.
safety net. We had
Got
this
a motion?
discussion. So that would be, my motion is to enter into the line of credit agreement with Middletown Valley Bank.
I'll second that, Marilyn.
We have a motion and a second to enter into an agreement for a line of credit with Middletown Valley Bank. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, abstained, motion carries. Contract award for WWTP fencing.
So this was, a special project that we had, budgeted $100,000 for in FY '25 to the current fence that's around the wastewater treatment plant is in desperate need of replacement. So this will go around the entire property. I only had 2 fencing companies to reach out to, but, both of them made proposals.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
The bids were very, very close.
They were very close. Greg, remind me what you said about them, Greg.
The cheaper one gives you a thicker gauge fence. Eight gauge is thicker than 9 gauge when it comes to fencing.
That's correct.
So not only is Frederick fence slightly cheaper, but it's also what you just.
What he just said.
More durable.
More durable.
Well, Frederick was less durable.
No,
Frederick
Frederick
was
was more durable. The
Oh, I'm
cheaper one he said.
The
was
cheaper
more
I'm sorry.
durable.
8's thicker than 9 when it comes to fencing.
Did I understand that correctly?
I'm looking at the wrong one, never mind. Never mind.
So you would recommend Frederick for next fence, okay, I just want to make sure I
It
understand.
looks like long fence has just a little bit more linear feet, but that's about it.
35 feet or something.
Yeah. So you want a motion? I'll
Yes,
make a
well,
motion.
Is this replacing the gate and all? The electronic,
Yes.
right? Is that what I read
It's a
in
slide
there?
gate.
It's a slide gate.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'll make a motion that we choose Frederick Fence.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to go with Frederick Fence bid for the fencing gate around the wastewater treatment plant. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Abstained, motion carries. Sorry about that. I was reading something else at the same time. Contract award line striping for Chase 6 Boulevard.
So I believe Drew mentioned a while ago that we wanted to go ahead and get the line on Chase 6 to start getting people used to the new traffic pattern. He obtained 2 quotes. The FSM is almost $1,000 cheaper.
Have we ever used either before? Is there any?
Drew said that they were both reputable companies. Drew, did you have an opinion one way or the other on the proposals?
No, I go with the cheaper one. They're both good companies. Save the money.
So I'll make a motion that we use FSM Inc. at $5,000 for the striping on Chase 6 Boulevard.
I have a second.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second on the striping for Chase 6 Boulevard. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed is the same, abstained, motion carries. I got a email the other day from State Highway. They are getting ready to start their survey out there, watching the traffic for need of a left turn signal coming out of Chase 6. We put in a request for one, especially when Chase 6 goes through to Maple Avenue, the traffic's gonna increase out there, and the people are complaining, have to wait because they can't make a left turn because nobody will let them go out. So they're gonna be starting a traffic study probably sometime the 1st of May. So,
Need one back there.
What are you pointing to?
you're right.
They need one
Hey,
northbound.
we requested that for years and years and years, and they said they'd do a traffic study, and it's not enough traffic to put a left turn lane.
I don't know how that's possible. That's horrible there.
Because they don't come in until after 6 to do the study.
That's why, yeah, that's why.
Because you'll see a white car with state highway license plates on, sitting up here occasionally, but it's after 6 o'clock. It's closer to 6:30, 7 o'clock after the traffic's all.
In the
gone.
evening?
In the evening,
Yeah, they need to come during their morning hours. That's when it's the worst.
You talking about the square?
yes.
The state highway told us there's not enough time in the pie, remember that?
Time and traffic.
Yeah. It's that
They can put the time in that.
they say whatever they want, because you go to all these different intersections in Washington County, Frederick County, and they all have a left turn lane.
Yep.
And a light.
Yep.
Go out to Sharpsburg Pike, where they have that intersection now, it's like the one at the dual highway and Edgewood Drive, you sit there forever, because there's like 6 different lights you have to cycle through. So tell me what size pie that is. We just want one little turn, whatever. They're just very, very difficult to deal with.
Amen.
Second that.
Contract, it took us, what, 6 years to get that crosswalk sign in, Terry?
Took a long
Remember that,
time,
Terry?
and then
We
all
met
the
up at the state police with Neil Parrott, and it still took 6 years for me to get that down there.
Painful.
Contract approval, purchase of 202 Maple Avenue for Campus Avenue realignment project.
We're tabling that until a special meeting.
But can we give an update, because I know it was just asked, so the intersection started on the developer side in Fletcher's Grove. But they can start to build houses once that side's completed, because it's not their obligation to build the other side of the intersection. That's on us and working with the Board of Education. But our staff has been diligently spending hours working on it, and we're getting close, very close.
The way I understood, they built this store out here, and them houses that road supposed to put through, and it got hit somehow.
Right, well, it's gonna come through. The issue was now that it's gonna come through where we hopefully can have a light and traffic goes straight in a school intersection. Before it was gonna come through up in between Kinsey Heights and the school, and you'd have a bigger nightmare with people coming and turning and coming and turning, so.
But once they get all the houses built in, are they gonna dig again and not open the road up?
No.
Yeah, their
They
side of the
can't.
road has to be open before they can build houses, but not have anything to do with the other side. But their side of the
I
road.
was told last time it's supposed to be started here by school shut down, so I don't know actually what time.
And they're doing
That's
that
our
right
goal.
now.
That's our goal.
That's our goal, and we got very close to getting the agreement.
Yeah, but they're also putting the road in too, if you go up there.
Yeah, you notice, they got all that
Yeah.
I see it
cleared
every
out
time.
and everything.
And it's not been hours of staff time, it's been months.
They've been
It's
working
been months
hard.
and literally over a year and a half or maybe 2 years.
been a
It's
long
been
time.
a long process and we are so close.
Yeah, it felt bad as a Easter day boys out here.
That's a different, I don't
That's-
say that
that's-
word.
That's a whole other topic without
Yeah,
even.
They are allowed to be doing the road and the houses on their side. They just had to financially commit that they were going to follow through with the project, so you don't have to worry about them, how did you say, reneging?
I ain't worried about it, I just wanna know when it's gonna be done.
Okay.
But
Well, so would we.
I'm hoping for a fast food restaurant here somewhere.
You're hoping for it?
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
It's one of the few.
We're happy to hear that.
Thank you very much.
Some are hoping and some aren't, so we got both sides on that one.
One for hope.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, approval to forgive sewer debt.
so sure. We had this conversation a couple times. I think the most recent was at the workshop. We've talked to, Jason with the, auditing team, and we've come to the determination that there's no real reason, there's no good valid reason to continue to hold this debt. And, I'm thinking that based on our conversation from the workshop, that we were just gonna bring this up in open work, in an open meeting, so that we could let the town and anybody else that's here,
Exact number of what we're forgiving.
1.808 million. That was the amount of debt that was accumulated over years and years and years. And there was always the intent, but the reality of it is that the sewer fund never paid back the general fund. And at this point, any recent debt that the sewer fund has borrowed, and I use that word very explicitly that the sewer fund has borrowed from the general fund, has paid back. And they have a plan that they won't borrow the money unless they can pay it back. So I'm just asking that we just wipe this one clean and stop hanging that over our heads, and we don't have to budget for it, and we can just move forward.
Motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we relieve the debt of $1.808 million from the sewer fund to the general fund.
And I will second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to forgive the sewer debt fund, their debt of 1.808 million. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Are you gonna work with Brian to get that entry made in
Yes,
before he leaves?
absolutely.
And I would just add, Mr. Mayor, for some of the folks from the public here, we're not forgiving debt that someone owes us. This is all just in.
It's just paper.
Between the general fund and the sewer
It's
fund.
just term.
It's just
One fund to another.
It's just paper. Nothing shady.
That's why we're doing it in public, so people wouldn't think it was shady.
Or is it? I just didn't want Anita to call me later.
Where'd that $1.8 million?
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, abstain, motion carries.
Thank you all very much.
Okay, stormwater management ponds responsibility for maintenance. Who's got that?
I would go ahead and make a motion on that one.
Well, I thought we had some confusion on who owned some and did we get,
That's not resolved. You
that's
you
what I
are
was
just.
gonna say, so isn't that kind of where we
As
stopped?
far as
at
the future of them, I mean, my understanding is, we're not gonna take, I would prefer not to take them over, and we can do it in the future if something happens to one, but, so I'm in favor of not taking ownership or the responsibility for them.
I believe how it was left in the last meeting or the workshop was that you wanted Drew to find out how other municipalities are doing it.
Yeah.
He talked to our attorney.
So I talked to Leslie. Leslie represents, I think, 10 or 11 municipalities. She said this comes up all the time. She recommends wholeheartedly, without any qualification, do not take the things over. You're assuming liability, you're assuming cost associated with it. Yes, you need to make sure that HOAs are sustainable and that they'll be able to take care of it. But she recommends to all of her towns not to do that.
Can I make a motion now?
Yes,
And
sir.
what happens though with the ones that we are, just stop doing it?
No, we'll have to maintain them. We'll be stuck with them.
What we own, we own.
Can't
We
like
don't.
give
We
back.
don't own some of them, I thought that he's been taken care of.
Drew, look, she's talking about Sycamore Run.
Oh, but the Sycamore Run, that's like a deeding issue. It's like.
Right. I think what happened is we were supposed to take them over.
Right.
Because we got 3 of them.
Right.
And it just, somebody didn't follow
It just
through on
fell
the other
through.
piece.
It just fell through the cracks, and we're still gonna have to take them
Yeah,
over,
we have
Terry,
to
that's your
take them over,
question.
'cause that was.
And in the future, I don't want to set the precedent to just take them over. If something happens in the future, we need to modify it, we can, but I don't want to set that precedent.
If that's what you want to do, we will write up an actual policy that actually states what the policy is. But you all had to make a decision on which way you want the policy to go before we could write
I
it.
make a motion that the policy go to not take over control of the
No ownership.
ownership of the storm.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second not to take ownership of any more, stormwater management ponds. Any more discussion? Everybody understand what you're voting on?
So we're voting to get a policy written up that we're gonna vote on.
Correct.
Okay, yeah.
But for
And
one
to not take it.
With that,
Yeah.
is the intent of the policy, yeah.
We got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, abstained, motion carries. Everybody's got a copy of Arbor Day Proclamation 2025. If you want to hear me read it, come to the park on April the 27th. I'll be right there.
Good for you.
Moving right along, invitation to Boonesboro Memorial Day Parade. Memorial ceremony will be on Sunday, May the 25th at 1 p.m. Parade forms at 1:15 and parade starting is at 2 o'clock sharply. When the fire whistle blows, we move. Here's the invitation. I won't be able to participate because I'll be unfortunately getting yelled at and called everything in the book, line the parade up.
Who's driving this topic?
Carol. No, Carol will be down here with the announcement, being along.
If she's not babysitting.
Oh,
She had back surgery.
She had surgery.
Oh, really?
Due to Sharpsburg.
That was insurance, yeah.
Okay.
This is the big.
Invitation to Boonesboro Memorial Day Parade, I said that. We got resolution 2025-02, amendment to the Boonesboro Environmental Commission.
The Boonesboro Environmental Commission wanted to see if it would be possible to revise their membership requirements, removing the requirement that all members be residents of in-town limits. So that's the only change in this. It's striking out who are residents of the town and allowing them to just have members.
They have a lot of subcommittees, that the people on those committees are not town residents, but they're very busy with these committees, and they are having a hard time getting town people to fill openings. So this is a way they're hoping, they'll vet them. I mean, they aren't gonna say, okay, if you live in Brunswick, we'll take it. They're gonna vet them and then pass them on to us, so.
Well, I don't have a problem with it, but we did something similar on utilities where we limited the number of.
That's what I'm saying.
participants.
Well, and I think,
Or maybe be a property owner. but-
can you read it the way that,
That is like nine
members, yeah.
So the Utilities Commission, they have to be in-town residents with the exception of one person who can be out of town limits but on the water system. And you can have one person who does not live in town but is a subject matter expert who fills the role of a consultant. And then similarly, the Economic Development Commission, their members have to either be town residents or have a business in town, or they can have one person who represents the historic,
Reservations.
whatever, the historic, I'm sorry, it is, and one person who's a community representative, and then one person who is something else.
They have a
So
vested interest in the town.
they have
In the town.
very specific ones for that. So I felt that it could be justified for the Environmental Commission because most, if not all of their initiatives are not limited to residents of the town. So they have the farmer's market that anybody can go to and anybody can be a vendor. They do the swap and recycle that you don't have to live in town to participate in that. They have, the new event, the Clean Earth Challenge, that's going to spread, that's not going to be a cleanup just in town limits, that's gonna spread around all of Boonesboro, so I felt that all of their initiatives, most or all of their initiatives benefit everybody, not just residents, and so they should open it up to others.
Who would do the vetting?
the commission, they would interview, look at, applications,
They gotta come to us.
right, and then they bring it to us.
Okay, here's my bad guy hat. Everybody thinks I hate the planet. I don't. I love the planet, okay? There are activist groups out there that do no good for anybody, and they would love to get involved in infiltrating something like this, and whether it's be Sierra Club, River Keepers, and they end up introducing things for us to make policy that does bad things for the economy and bad things for the town. I don't have an issue with somebody wanting to be involved in that. I just want to be, somebody we had people from Brownsville come up here and want us to write letters about putting pipelines under the Potomac River, and that's happened before. I just don't want to see this out of hand, and that's my concern. I'm just talking out loud.
Well, I'm with you, I just don't know why we have a town committee, and then I would be okay with it being someone that owns property in town, may not live in town, or has a business in town, maybe that wants to go. Or we limit the number of people who don't live in the residence, but the way it's written right now, there could be 9 non-Boonesboro residents running
I
our
think
environmental.
the way
commission.
I didn't bring my phone with me, and the way you
I would
said
be
it,
afraid
it
of
would not
that.
happen because of the way you had worded it.
It's getting to the point, it's getting harder and harder and harder
I
for these commissions.
Okay, so would you guys be open to revising it so that if it's at least 7, no more than 9, would you want to have no more than, like, no more than 2 people can reside outside of town limits?
I got a suggestion for you. How about the majority of the members has to be in Boonesborough? So that means if you got 8 members, 4 of them has to be in Boonesborough, 4 of them can be out.
No, 5 and 3.
5 and 3, yep, 5 and 3.
They're also asking for council liaison.
Oh, we got a council.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Well,
terrible.
up here at the old one, it didn't say that, but down here it says, and.
Well, we have a council liaison.
Yeah, it's like that.
How would that?
Well, I'm saying EDC has, what, 2?
But the EDC has as a town staff liaison and a council liaison. That's the difference. I'm the council liaison, but Brian was the staff liaison.
I like that idea.
I think I would be all right.
Would it help if they also had, at least if you lowered the limit to 5, so it still exists? Is that a problem? If you go under 7, is that what a problem?
I think they have people who want to join it. Like Terry said, they have a number of subcommittees that don't have a resident. They have lots of people who help, they just don't live in town. So they want those people who are active and come to the meetings and have ideas to actually be able to serve.
So the majority is gonna have to be in-town residents.
In-town residents, that would
I think
be
if you
5
change
and
it-
4.
Yeah, I think if you change it to that, we should be
I
good.
could live with that.
See, that's fine.
That'd be a motion.
Make sure that.
Yeah, but I don't know how to word all that. So the commission shall consist of at least 7 and no more than 9 members, with the majority being residents of the town.
Correct.
And the council liaison.
Sounds good. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Everybody understand what you're voting on? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Abstain? Oh, 1 no? Okay, we got 1 no.
So it was Marilee and Tony
Yes,
who said no, right?
right.
I hate the plan.
Don't hold back.
Any other new business come before the council before we go to commission reports? Hearing none. Park Board, Ricky?
Okay. So excited. We had a meeting, well, they had a meeting on March 26th. Unfinished business was the Phase 4 walking trail update. It has been completed. This is what they were saying on the 26th. The field dirt grassy along the sides will be finished soon. The $6,000 that remain from the grant will be used for benches, picnic tables, and etc. Disc golf, waiting on additional materials to complete the project. So I think they were putting them in, weren't they? Yeah, so they're already in. Concert updates, all concert has been scheduled. Concert list is included with the minutes. Don't ask me who's playing because there's 20-some bands going to be down there this.
Kim has
This
it
way.
noted on the town calendar, so if you wanna know who's playing when.
Thank you very much. There's one, sometimes 2 concerts a week. That's awesome. Yeah, we're gonna call it a concert series this next time. Movie update, there's 4 movies. They'll be shown on the 3rd Saturday of May, June, July, and August. The scout troops are going to build a pollinator hotel, blue box nesting boxes, and owl nesting boxes for Eagle Scout projects. And there's more net information coming up to the next meeting.
Tree approval from the environmental commission?
No?
He spoke at ours.
Projects.
We gave him a
Monarch butterflies.
Yeah, the environmental people, Terry said gave you permission.
Who's that?
Morgan, isn't it?
No, for what?
The Pollinator Hotel in Schaefer Park.
Oh, this is the scout troop project.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it's an Eagle Scout
Yeah,
project.
Jake, this Bennett.
Okay. All right. We have 2 additional tree, this is the tree board update. We have 2 additional Tree City USA signs. Signs will be at the 4 intersections of Boonesboro. And the new maple trees will be planted in April. And I think if I'm not mistaken, they're looking for some people to help them. I think this coming weekend. The one tree planted during the Arbor Day celebration. Arbor Day stream cleanup update. The event is April 27th from 1 to 4. In addition to the park and street cleanup, there will be a ribbon cutting ceremony for the completion of the walking path. Trout derby update. Mayor Lee could probably give you more about that. Donation letters have been sent to town businesses. Green Fest is a swap recycle event on May 10th. Wagon train update. The event is May 18th. Postman Auxiliary will be selling hot dogs, drinks, and chips. Pony ride, ponies have been confirmed, so you will be able to ride a photo. Still waiting on the confirmation from a spinner. I always like that from the spinner. Independence Day 2025 update. Vendor applications have been posted. More information at the next meeting. New business. And that is the Clean Earth Challenge, and I'm sure everybody in here has heard about that. Contact person is Kathy Besley. The town is participating in a litter pickup challenge. A letter of explanation and tally sheets were given to the businesses in town, hoping that each business will participate. To record litter that is collected. School students are encouraged to keep a record of litter they pick up, especially the good. This is especially good for students needing SSL hours. Now, residents will get a letter of explanation and tally sheets in their water bill, which we did. During the Arbor Day event, bags of trash will be recorded. It is hoped that we all do our part to make this challenge a success and Boonesboro a cleaner town. Boonesboro is a sustainable Maryland certified community with a bronze status. The goal is to make it a silver status. And last but not least, Jackson Berger from the Boonesboro National English Honor Society asked us, the board, if they could put in a little library in the park. There's several locations throughout the town. They're just little boxes that have little library books and whatever in them. And we gave them they gave him the blessing, and several locations were discussed. More information about the project will be provided. And our board is in favor of the project. Our next meeting will be a park walkthrough. We will meet at April 23rd at Pavilion 2 at 6. That's it.
Yeah, quite a long agenda there, didn't you?
Yeah, it's about 3 hours.
Anybody have any questions of Ricky? Okay, none, Tony?
Sure.
Utilities.
Yep, so the BMUC last met on March the 19th. Old business project update, Schaefer Park well, new well connection is complete, electrical work scheduled for 2020-2025. New MDE requirements of enhanced testing will be required for 1 year. Reservoir update, town planner stated that the 500-day contract began on February 24th, 2025 with notice to proceed. We have 8 design requests in WRA. Town planner met with Potomac Edison to relocate the existing service line. Town planner also stated work directive crediting the project with the elimination of a second construction trailer. HRI was given permission to shut down Boonesboro Mountain Road, and the town planner said that we will be having weekly staff meetings and monthly meetings with HRI. Crestview pressure reduction, town planner stated that the plans are 90% complete. WRA has filed a joint permitting application. Town planner has a meeting scheduled with Crestview HOA the same night as our upcoming BMUC meeting on April the 16th, which is this Wednesday. And in lieu of that, the BMUC will meet at 7 PM so that that HOA meeting can happen here at 6 PM. The controlled growth plan that was presented to the mayor and council for comments, also discussion about impact fees was discussed at the BMUC. Under new business, Align, the water connection tap fees was discussed. We talked about raising the Boonesboro connection fees to match Keedysville, which is currently theirs is $12,000. Ours is $10,550. There wasn't any real good reason that the BMUC saw to do that. So they made the recommendation that we would do either capital improvements and or an impact fee to offset connection fees. The bulk water meter purchase policy. So this was brought up that currently there isn't a policy for the public works superintendent to purchase water meters for these new developments. These new developments have a new requirement because, you know, these new homes are gonna have to have sprinkler systems in them. So we're trying to get a policy together. Town planner is gonna work on an outline that we can purchase these new 3/4 water meters under the new construction guidelines, and this cost will include both the cost of the water meter, and it's also gonna cover the labor that the Public Works Department will get paid or reimbursed for installing. My first thought was, and we can kick it around, is if we don't have it in the budget, and we don't have it in the budget, that maybe we can look at using the water fund user fee account monies, because that money will be redeposited back in, but we'll get the outline started first, but that was my first thought to do. Fletcher's Grove surcharge. So we were told that there was a surcharge problem there at Fletcher's Grove. Our Public Works Department has looked at it, they've monitored it, they've checked it. They don't see it to be an issue, but with the brewery coming on board, I'll get it. With the brewery coming on board, we did want to have a safeguard, so we approved the purchase of a tracking device for $3,584 to be installed in that section, so that if there is a surcharge created by the new inflow, then we can react to it and not just be surprised. That equipment can be utilized in other places if we move it out of there. Under systems report, the water and sewer superintendent reported that the Keedysville spring pump is still on back order. Could be another 2 months yet, and there were no other sewer concerns. Our public works superintendent reported 2 major water leaks happened in the past, and that 1 sewer backup on 40 North Main Street on the residential side. He also stated the need of a policy of other utility placements near our town of Boonesboro utilities. So they had a situation where these contractors come in and they're installing utilities encroaching on ours. So not there yet, but we need a little bit more groundwork so that we can get some type of policy in place. And also reported that we had another fire hydrant that was damaged by our fire department because it was improperly shut off. I don't know how to hold the fire department's hands. I'm not sure how we need to correct that, but we need to have some type of communication with the fire chief and down the line.
How's that happen? You turn off too fast, get a water hammer, or what do you do?
Yep.
Exactly.
Causes water hammer.
So it's
Drew
improperly
meets with
trained.
him. I don't talk to him.
It's improperly trained, it's no training, it's lack of training.
That's firefighting 101, man.
So, and
Those fire meetings.
our last quarter reading, we had 8 shut-offs, and I don't know if that was a higher number, maybe it was a little.
That's pretty low.
Okay, all right, so
It's
it's about average.
four Keysville, 4
Yeah, so. We meet again on April the 16th, right here at 7 PM.
Question, how are we doing with the backups on, was it Orchard Drive?
Knock on wood, so far as I
Like,
can.
okay, just wondered if the letter was
Yeah.
effective or if this tracking thing would help catch
That
up
will be
that.
installed Wednesday, but that's gonna be
Yeah,
correct.
that's gonna be
Right, but would something like that
It
help
would, yep.
there?
Yeah.
Like,
They would
if
tell you
we keep
before it
having a
Right.
persistent problem, would that be an
an option
Yeah,
to
it
help
would
us
be.
there.
So if we're running with this new tracking device for 3 months or 6 months and have no problem out there, maybe we can move it temporarily. We'll see, but yeah.
Well, maybe the letter helped find the person that was doing it.
We hope. Any other questions?
I do, actually, I'm sorry, it's a bit off topic, but I meant to ask when you guys were voting to forgive the sewer fund debt, we had budgeted $350,000 for that as a payment for that in FY '25. Now that we're forgiving that, can I go ahead and order the sewer router that we talked about?
Yep.
Yes.
Did you also see my note that where I think they might have budgeted too high for expected revenue in the sewer fund?
We're talking,
I know.
yeah.
No, this
is this year.
This is
That's
this
FY
current-
25.
Yeah, we're not talking about FY '26
Okay,
yet.
well, I think FY 25 is gonna be
Revenue under?
revenue.
And
Looking at where we are for the first 3 quarters, revenue, where we are year to date and what we've got left to do. I don't think we're gonna hit our target.
Dave, ask for your horse. It's a good time.
We'll,
Heard Rick say about the
circle back
semis.
to that, and I'll get with you. But we should be able to, because it's gonna be out a year, right?
Yes, but since it was budgeted in FY '25, we paid for it.
Right.
And plus that way they would honor.
Did we really budget that much in this year's 350,000?
Yep.
Are you sure?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
And how much does it cost, Greg?
About
But that wasn't the payment of the new stuff, because there's no way the sewer fund could afford that.
We're still waiting on a price of Eric's budget.
Well, I think you better, before you spend that money, I think you better look at your budget, because we also didn't hit the target of hookups, which is spending some of that money in current budget.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, sorry.
To be the bearer of bad news. Get my budget out.
Thank you, sir. Planning, Eric?
Yes. Heck, so much stuff here tonight, I forget where I'm at.
At town hall.
Yeah, so, the long-awaited draft, first section or two of the comprehensive plan has been delivered. 134 pages of it. Drew basically gave the assignment to the planning commission to review it and come next week with comments. So that's their assignment, right, Drew?
That's their assignment, and I have goals and objectives for them to review at the meeting.
Yes, and I had that written down there, yes. So that's one topic. Not in any certain order here. We talked about the ownership of the stormwater management facilities. That's already been taken care of here this evening. I think we're done with that. We talked a little bit about the growth policy for future development. And that just goes right back every time to focus on how many houses we want to be allowed to be built every year. It's just all over the map, a lot of talk, and it just is a topic of recurring discussion, I'll say. And last but not least, I will say, the site plan requirement changes that planning and zoning here don't laugh, okay? The site plan requirement changes that I probably prompted, some of at least, because I kept asking, well, when do you need a site plan? So Drew dug out some old verbiage we had, he modified it, focused primarily on that. The Planning and Zoning Commission passed it, it came to us, and then we passed it. And then I think I pulled a Nancy Pelosi, I had to read the bill, we had to pass it to read the bill. So when I read it, I found something in there on about the 4th or 5th page, which honestly, I don't think anybody read. We were only concerned with page 1, the site plan requirements. But way down here, there's some bullets about an active adult community and the definition of a building. So the day after we passed all this, I read this stuff that night, found this ordinance that was passed in 2008, ordinance number 2008-02, and I took it in and showed it to Drew. And his comment was, well, gee, I never saw that, I didn't know that existed. So I'm not speaking for Drew, but our conversation that day was, well, I'm gonna have to look at that and kind of readdress this and all. So the thing that we passed, I don't have a lawyer yet, because we're gonna take another look at it.
Right, so basically what I do is when there is something that you want to change in your rules and regulation or in your ordinances, I take it to those committees that would have review of it and get a draft that they would find acceptable to advertise to hold a public meeting on. So, yes, you approved the general pieces, but it was not drafted by an attorney yet. You did not approve it in the sense that you approved the new regs. That hasn't happened yet. So there's still plenty of time to catch it and adjust it. That's what we're gonna be working on this month.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about this some more in next week's planning and zoning. So basically, it was, again, defining an active adult community and what a building is, which is in direct conflict with this resolution from 2008 that I found. So, anyhow, I think that's the last thing I have to say.
Uh,
I have a question. Is the planning gonna adjust what we were talking about with the cannabis consumption facilities and operating things?
Well, that has not been discussed with me, but we certainly need
Planning
to.
have to do that first, or can the council? Because if I'm reading Tony's email from MML, is that we can make an ordinance making it, increasing the distance to 1/2 mile.
That's exactly right.
And I think that would be my preference, since we tried to do that before
I
this
don't remember a
July.
half mile. I remember from 500 feet to 1,000.
Yeah. That's.
Current law sets minimum distance at 1,000 feet.
Okay.
And at least 500 between, but it says through an ordinance, local governments are permitted to increase this distance to 1/2 mile.
Well, I'm certainly not speaking for anybody here, but, I didn't think that was really gonna go to the planning commission. But
Okay, well then-
I thought the council should do what we're allowed to do to the maximum extent of the law.
Okay, well, that's what I'm suggesting too,
Yeah.
so I
I
just, since
actually
we don't
did
have
that.
an April workshop, I just wondered
Yeah.
do we draft that, I mean, who do we get to draft that up? So that we get it passed by July.
I have reached out to Hagerstown to see if I could get a copy of what they're getting ready to submit.
Okay.
So we do have till July 1st.
Right.
But we do need to act on it.
So we got May and June.
Yeah, so, as soon as I get that back from them, I think I'll just share it with y'all so we can figure
I
it
just
out.
wasn't sure if that was planning commission purvey, since it was kind of rules of where you put businesses and stuff.
Does that pertain in front of schools?
That's the minimum distance between
Park,
schools,
churches.
playgrounds, recreation centers, libraries, parks, and places of worship.
So there's a lot.
Yeah.
Have you all seen that?
Yeah.
Yes.
We talked about it briefly.
Yeah.
And if I read that, Mary, that was the only thing that I
That's
saw.
the only thing we're allowed to edit and change.
And I even pulled up Google Maps to see how, because I heard off the record that Alex's convenience store wanted to be discovered. So I actually pulled up Google Maps and measured how many feet it was.
No, Bark and.
So Park Road throws them out.
If not the school, I mean, if you
Right,
go to
the
a
church.
house, yeah.
The St. James Church, I mean, there's so much on, yeah. But anyway, yes, I'll share that as soon as I get there.
And I did reach out to MML for guidance on it, and the person I emailed replied and copied 2 other people and said she was passing it off to them, and I did not hear back from either of them.
Lovely.
Well, we can certainly do something before.
Well, just like I said,
Oh,
I
yeah.
just wanna make sure that gets on the agenda or radar, that
So
we
you
can get that.
get something.
Yeah, as soon as I get it, I'll share it. And we'll go on the next meeting agenda.
Thank you, Eric. Anybody else have any other questions of Eric? Economic Development Commission, Ray?
Hey, so last meeting, I attended the first hour along with Rachel and we had a good personality. Did you ever go back, Rachel?
I did.
So I have the notes from Marie Oyster for the rest of it. Side note, Marie Oyster, Fulton Bank closing here in this branch, and she found a job at the managing the financial center in Hagerstown. for them, so I'm glad. Most of our people have gotten a soft place to land, so, from Fulton closing down, so I'm happy about that. Couple ribbon cuttings coming up, walking trail, this is Boone Trail. We're gonna do a ribbon cutting for that.
You weren't supposed to say that. It's supposed to be a surprise.
Oh, yeah, a long trail, we'll be there.
Combined trails, yeah.
You talked about the cleanup challenge. We're gonna have a networking meeting in May or June, late May, early June. He's gonna be at Nate's moonshine shop or at Cochran's. We've got, you talked about today, farmer's market starts on the 6th. I'm not stealing your thunder over there, but we
Go
got to
ahead,
do
it's
something
already
for
been
them.
stolen.
Yeah. We'll do something for that.
We need
Green
to
Fest,
go
if
to
we'll be at there, Green Fest, and probably do some kind of a opening event for Green Fest on the 10th of May. National Road Museum, we're gonna have an open, ribbon cutting for them on the 21st of June. The next opening business is supposed to be Provisions 146, which is right up here in South Main Street. And they are supposed to have a date, late April. It's getting pretty close now, so that may be pushed back. I'll let you know when that happens. Food Truck Festival is going to be August 31st this year. It's going to be run by the Boonesboro Town Alliance, so this will be the first time they're going to actually run the show. So I'm looking forward to that. Next meeting is on the 28th, 8 o'clock here at Town Hall. I will not be attending it. I will be in France in mine school. And you won't be there either.
You're going to Normandy.
Yeah, I'm going to Normandy. So anybody available to go on the 28th? If not,
Trail. I was just kidding. It is Boone's Trail.
Boone Trail.
Boone's Trail.
Weaver Trail.
Anybody else have any questions of Ray? Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Have a good trip.
Thank you.
I have a cemetery board meeting that night, I'm sorry.
During the day.
They meet at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, well, all right, I can maybe do that then.
Okay, that'd be great.
All right,
Thank you.
Be prepared for a 3-hour meeting.
At least.
All right. 8
Oh,
o'clock.
and normally Stoneworks gives us breakfast,
Yeah,
but
get
Stoneworks
breakfast.
is closed on Mondays. So we're not gonna have Stoneworks quiche. So they'll have something else.
Environmental station, Gary.
Indeed.
Amy Jones put her application in for the BEC. She was previously on the BEC, took a little break when her term was up. So, I need to bring her name before you all to vote for her to rejoin the BEC. Amy Jones.
Amy Jones. Okay. I like to appoint Amy Jones to what, how many years? 3? Or y'all do 2?
I just-
3?
3 or 4, I don't know.
How many years do they do? 3 or 4?
I'd have to look at what position she's
Okay.
filling.
For however many years, she's supposed to.
28 is that.
I'll second, or I'll make that motion. I'll
Yeah.
second.
We got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
She is. Yeah, she is.
Yeah, she does live in town.
Right the street.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, abstained, motion carries.
Let's see, we have a garden manager, Emma Iker. She lives on Route 34, close to the garden, so that will work out good. New community garden manager. What else? Everybody said all my stuff. Let's see.
I knew we did environmental commission report first thing.
Oh, I know.
Jerry's thunder's not on.
So,
The Appalachian Trail, there are 3 water stations up there, Gatlin, Dahlgren, Marshall Monument, and they're gonna be putting it's called a hiker box at Dahlgren. It's like a box where like the hikers swap things. They can't use something there at the end of their walk or whatever, they put things in there for other people to take. And, let's see. Green Fest, the first time they're gonna have a food truck at it this year on May 10th. And also, Black Mountain Coffee's gonna be there. That's it.
What kind of
It was a lot longer.
Sorry, Terry.
When's bulk pickup this year?
The following, I believe it's 17th,
17th?
I believe.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
Terry, no updates on the Monarch Butterfly Rest Station or anything like that?
Well, Jake with the, Scouts wanted to put his pollinator hotel in the middle of that monarch butterfly garden, but they talked about it and said that it really needs to have close to water, so they're gonna take a little walk on the trail back there by the creek and all, and might put it back in there.
You can have butterflies and bees in the same location, that's a problem.
Yes.
They fight.
Listen to Ray.
He's all about that stuff. It's environmental.
Anybody have any other questions of Terry? Thank you,
Please
Terry.
do.
Anything else come before the council tonight?
I just have one other thing, Mr. Mayor. I'd sent out the Board of County Commissioners meeting conduct and meeting sequence. I think that we need to do something with that. I thought I read something where somebody was meeting with somebody, maybe I misunderstood, but I'll be working on that too, because we need to have that done.
Well, that's good for your attorney. Get it done. Yeah. Because that's what they did. That's why they're having all the municipalities, instead of them coming to the municipalities, they can protect the municipalities better if they hold the meeting at the county commissioners. Because they have the authority to now to escort certain people out if they have to.
And that's being,
That's being fought too.
it's
yeah.
being challenged
It's being
legally.
challenged, yeah. So. But it's not a bad idea to look into, but we'll have to legally go through our attorney to get something formally wrote up. Be very similar to the county commissioners, so it has some truth to it instead of.
You need me to send that back to you, Rachel? To send to her, or do you have it?
I'm sure I have it, but
I can just
she
send-
is not gonna be able to get to that anytime soon.
Yeah,
because
it's gonna
she's
be a while.
doing the McAway agreement, she's
Oh,
doing
yeah, that's fine.
or the water board, MOU, or not.
The new agreement.
That agreement,
Okay.
she's got multiple,
That's
plus
fine.
she's juggling the Easter. So,
Do we meet in May with the county commissioners?
No.
June.
June,
Okay.
Get a
Right
date.
there.
It was, didn't you get a?
Yeah, they can't.
We got it. I got it somewhere. I can send it
So
to
you
you.
won't have to worry about it.
Like the night after our regular meeting.
He must have really showed himself in Funkstown.
Oh, yeah.
He's following the
Literally.
commission.
Literally.
Commission. They can't,
He did.
yeah, but he's following Mr. Barr
Okay.
everywhere.
Anything else? We have a motion to adjourn. Very
I'll
much.
make a motion.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Ricky second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same, motion carries. Everybody have a good evening.
So.